Hello everybody, welcome to the English session class. Today I am going to teach class 10th lesson number 2, the elixir of life. Elixir, the meaning of elixir, a liquid substance with a magical power to prolong life. And here this lesson is written by C.V. Raman. Yes, we know about C.V. Raman sir. He was a great scientist. So let's see what C.V. Raman sir has to say about the elixir of life. I've said everybody know about Sir C.V. Raman. So let's see a few information about Sir C.V. Raman. Sir C.V. Raman, he born in 1888 to 1970, had a keen interest in science even from his boyhood days. That means from his childhood he was very much interested in a science subject. For his famous discovery called the Raman effect, he was awarded the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1930. King George knighted him for his contribution to physics. The government of India awarded him the Bharat Ratna, and the Soviet Union honored him with the International Lenin Prize in 1957. This is few information about Sir C.V. Raman. So before we see the lessons paragraph wise, so let's see some glossary part, some new words. So you can see on the screen, it's called as elixir, billowing, speck, silt, potent, suspension, catchment area, crust, successive. Then there are a few words again that you can see: terracing, ruts, contours, cultivation, prevent erosion, momentum, conservation, harnessing, afforestation. Right? You can see these are the hard words from your textbooks. So in here, the lesson says that we have the man throughout the ages. They were searching for an imaginary elixir of life, and it is called as divine amrita. Right? So we say divine amrita is amrit, which we get from the God. But here, what is the truth? The truth is that we can see that elixir of life. We have it. Okay, we should not search for the amrita or the magical water or anything else, but you can only see that elixir of life lies near to your hands. And what is that? Everybody can see that. What is that? It's nothing but a liquid. A liquid is what? A plain water. So we say here the author is trying to tell you that instead of looking for an imaginary elixir of life, which is called as divine amrita, right? Instead of searching that, please take care of the commonest of all liquid which we have, and that is called as a plain water. And then here author is trying to explain the differences between the two pictures. So you can see a picture of a desert and you can see a picture of a river, right? So this picture is nothing but, the first picture is a Libyan desert, okay, and the second one is the valley of a Nile in Egypt. So now one day what happened, the author is remembering that he's standing on the line which separate. So he's standing in middle of both the pictures and is trying to figure out, he's trying to differentiate how these two pictures are different, right? So when you see this picture, definitely you can find out what you can see differences in that. Come on children, what can you see the differences? Yes, we can see the differences where one place is full greenery, you can see water, you can see trees, you can see blue, you can see mountain, Nile river, right? But whereas in your desert, what you can see? You can see only the billowing sand. You can see only the sand. Nowhere you can see any kind of green things. Green is nothing but any kind of plant, any kind of tree you cannot see that. Okay, what can you see only in the desert? You can only see the billowing sand without a speck of green or a single living thing. But whereas in the Nile River, you can see different colors. You can see a greenery. You can see that land is more fertile. That land is more fertile means it is a good for the vegetation, right? And then you can see the populated area. That means the people, right? Will you choose an area which is desert one, or which one you will choose, or the Nile one? Definitely, right? Nobody will want you to go to a place where you don't have the water, or where you don't have the trees, where you don't have the oxygen, right? Where it's always hot. Definitely, we will not choose that kind of place. So which place we'll choose? We'll choose a place called like a Valley of Nile, right? Like a Valley of Nile, where you have trees, where you have houses, where you have water, and where you have area for agriculture. So that's why the people are more in the riverside areas compared to the deserts. So he understood that there's importance of water from the paragraph number 2 when he's standing in mid of the two picture, and people are choosing what we are choosing. So we are choosing the Nile because we can survive in an area where you have all the facility, and the first facility is water. So without water we cannot live, right? Without water we cannot survive, and that's why the author is saying that people will choose the Nile instead of the Libyan desert. So here the word called as geologist. So geologist means a scientist who studies the solid, liquid and gaseous matter which you can see on the earth and the terrestrial planet. Okay, so this is the study where the geologist will study about the soil and liquid. So when the geologist studied about the Nile Valley, right? How come the Nile Valley has a beautiful creation? So here the geologist says that the entire soil, you know what is soil, right? The entire soil has been bottled by the river itself. Okay, river itself. So this rivers will flow from one area. So this Nile River or the water will come up from the Abyssinia or from the Central Africa. Okay, when it flows down, when the river flows down, what it will get it along with the water, along with the river, it will also get the silt. Silt is nothing but a finest soil. So when it comes down from the highland, right? From the highland, you know what is highland? The top of the land, okay, like a small mountain. So when the water flows down, along with the water, it gets the silt, and all the silt will be brought it and kept in one place by the river, and that's why the river or that area has been a more fertile area, and that's why the ancient civilization was created there, and they call life-giving water. So every year water used to flow off, the river used to flow off, and it has to give the all kind of life-giving to the people. So here again the author says it was an example to understand that the common substance which we are taking for granted. What is granted? We are neglecting, right? We are misusing we are not misusing, we are wasting the water. We are not taking care of the water properly, right? But it has a very beautiful role. The water has a very beautiful role over the earth's history, and all the time it will continue. The water will continue to play the main role in the drama of life on the surface of the planet. That means water is giving all its best to the people, but what we are doing, we are not able to conserve, we are not able to save water. But instead of what we are doing, we are neglecting. We are taken granted the common liquid and we are just wasting it. So in this paragraph, now the author is trying to tell you about the rain-fed tanks. So what is rain-fed tanks? Yes. So rain-fed tanks is nothing but a tanks. Usually we have a tanks on the terrace, on the roof of the house, which will be open, right? And then you have the four sides, the corner, the top will be the top will be the open, right? And whenever the rain comes, what will happen? The water will be collected in the tank. So that is called as a rain-fed tank. So author is trying to tell this rain-fed tanks, it's commonly happen or commonly can be seen in South India, okay? But now what is happening? But now also we are neglecting the rain-fed tanks and we are not maintaining them properly. The tanks we are not maintaining properly because human beings are lazy, right? So they are lazy. They are not maintaining or they are neglecting the water. But here the author is trying to tell that when you see water, it gives you a happiness. It will be a surprising or it will be a beautiful sight to see. Okay, now when to see? Now for imagine, you have imagination, right? Everybody will imagine, right? Yes, so now let you imagine there is a tank on your roof, on your house roof, okay, and the tank is fully filled with water, and when you watch it during the sunset or during the rise of the sun, right? When you see in the morning time the sunrise, or when you see in the evening time the sunset, how will you feel it? Can you just imagine that? Picture the scenery, nature lover? Definitely. So when you see that, what will happen? The rays will fall on the water, which makes what will happen? Which makes water to shine, right? Which make water to shine because of bright color, right? But here what happened? Still we are not able to give importance to these rain-fed tanks. Definitely rain-fed tanks we cannot use for drinking purpose, right? But these rain-fed tanks can be used for the agriculture purpose, right? So this is how we can conserve the water. And the next paragraph, author is trying to tell you about a remarkable fact about the water, that water has the power to carry the silt. What is a silt? Silt is nothing but a finely divided soil, a very small, very smooth kind of soil, okay? And that is why the water of the color will be changing in the rain-fed tank. It depends upon what kind of water, what kind of soil the water is carrying. So when the water is carrying the soil or the finely divided soil, that's make the rain-fed tank as a color. Okay. So when this water carries the solid particles, right, the heavy particles, so what will happen? The large particles or the heavy particles will be flowing. Water can carry fairly large and heavy particles. Okay, where is the finest particle, the small particles? What will happen? It will be keep on floating within the liquid because of their greater density, and of course what will happen? They are very small, right? So finely means is very small, but when you look into very deeply, you can see them as a greater number. So here what will happen? The density, which has a greater density, it will be flowing, okay, and you can see the heavy particle. It has the power to carry the heavy particles and also the small particles. So this is the remarkable fact about water, is to power to carry the silt in suspension. Now here the author is trying to tell you one more part of the water. The flow of water has undoubtedly played a great part, right? It has a beneficial one also, and it has a negative one also, right? So I've told you about that it carries the silt. It's carried the silt, right? So now here what will happen? The soil on the earth's surface has been formed from the rock of its crust. So you know the soil is formed out of what? Out of rock, right? The rocks will when this river keep on flowing, it makes the rock to turn into the pieces. It just broke out, and then it turns into the small it just break down to small parts and then convert as a soil, right? But here is also one part where I can see the author is trying to tell that this soil, when this river carry the soil, it can lead into the destructive part also. What will happen? It wash away the soil, which is the foundation of all the agriculture. Okay, I can give an example. Okay, you can see there's a mud on there is a soil on your balcony or on your house. What will you do? You just pour out the water. Why you pour out the water? Why you flush the water? Because when you have a force on with the water, it will take away all the soil. Here also what will happen, and this rivers will keep on flowing, it will take the most important, the first layer of the soil from the agriculture, and what will happen? It will be an effect on the agriculture, right? Why? Because agriculture is a backbone of our country. We all depend on the agriculture. So we have to check, and this process is called as a soil erosion. Soil erosion is nothing but washing of the soil. So it can be a destructive. So we have to keep checking. That is the soil erosion happening in too much way or how? If it's happening too much way, how can we check or how can we stop it? Now, why this soil erosion can happen? How it can be happen? So it can be happen due to the heavy rain. When it's too much of rain, surplus of water, what will happen? It will flow off. When it's too much of rain or too much of water is there on the soil, it will take the first layer of the soil. The first layer of the soil is nothing but a protective coat of vegetation, right? Protective coat of vegetation. So we have to take the precaution to save the large quantities of a precious soil. It can be washed away. Okay, so if it happens, if this is a condition where soil erosion is happening every time, so what will happen? It will lead to an unsatisfactory report. So here, why this soil erosion is happening? Because of the cutting up of the trees. So we are doing deforestation, right? We are cutting all the forest and turning into the industries or house or business purpose or factories, whatever. I think this all you have learned in your social classes, right? Soil erosion geography. So when you cut the trees, it leads to the soil erosion. That is, you are giving up chance for the water to carry out all the first layer of your soil, and that is leads to unsatisfactory result can be seen in India if it happened too much. So before it happened too much, the author is trying to tell to stop it. Now in the 9th paragraph, author is trying to tell that soil erosion, if it's continuous, right? If it's continually happening in agriculture, then we have to take precautions, right? We have to take precautions to stop this soil erosion. So how it's possible? So there are some suggestions given by the author, which we have also studied in our social subject. That is terracing of land, construction of bunds to check the flow of water, the practice of contour cultivation, and the planting of appropriate types of vegetation. These are some measures which can be stop the soil erosion. So here we have to take, if it's possible, if the flow of water is too much, then early as possible we have to take a step to stop this soil erosion. Otherwise it leads to a destructive towards the agriculture. And then he says the water is a basis of all life. It's all life means for everyone the water is essential. So why water is essential? So it is a substantial proportion of free or combined water in its body. Okay, and no activity can be done if you don't have the proper liquid in your body, right? So animal needs water, correct? Even your plants need the water to grow. So here what we have to do, so it's only the human being who can preserve or who can save the water, okay, and then so that there will be no problem for anybody. So author is trying to tell that wherever the problem arises because of soil erosion or because of irregular rainfall, right? We stay in a country where we have a monsoon season, and we have irregular of rainfall. You know, some years we get more rain, some years we get medium rain, or some year we get no rain. So that is a problem we are having in our country, right? So that's why the author is trying to tell that you have to save, you have to preserve the water, so that during that kind of difficulties we can use this water for our survival. In 11th and 12th paragraph, his author is trying to he's telling that in a country having only a seasonal rainfall or an immense quantity of rainwater must necessarily run off the ground. So we have to collect that rainwater, and we have to it's not actually rainwater, we have to kind of the water, and we have to utilize those water, especially in the agriculture purpose. And then the other water, whichever is the good drinking water, can be used for drinking purpose. This is the first thing which the author is trying to tell you, that we have to collect and utilize the rainfall water, and we can also use, which goes into the streams and rivers, and then it just go back to the sea. And the next thing he is trying to tell you, that wherever you have a scrub jungle, where you have a forest which cannot be used for anything, it's just kept as a jungle. So what author is trying to tell us, that you can cut the jungle and you can turn into a fertile land, okay, and then you can have a well planned action, so that jungle can be cut down and turn into a fertile land, and that can be a prosperous, it can be successful for the country if we have a well planned action. And even he's saying here that we should have the problem of afforestation. What is the afforestation? So deforestation is cutting off your trees, chopping down of your trees. Afforestation is you're going to plant the trees. So it's nothing but systematic planting of suitable trees in every possible or even in impossible areas. Okay, so we're going to plant the more and more trees, more and more plants wherever it is possible. So when you have this kind of trees, when you start doing afforestation, so we can also see there will be a less of soil erosion, and that's how you can conserve the rainfall of the country from flowing away to waste all the problems which must be considered and deal with the nation. So then when you have more trees, or when you have the afforestation, that is how you can also stop, or you can also reduce the soil erosion, and indirectly it will affect on our country. So here the author is trying to tell you that even the government, even we have heard very much programs about development of internal transport through the way of canals or rivers. It is by boat. There is nothing but the seaways, right? But we always hear of programs related to railway constructions or roadway constructions or development of railways and roadway construction. But we far away, they never think about the development of internal waterways in India. Then again, apart from this harvesting of water, again the harvesting of water, right? Usually it's possible to make development of a hydroelectric power. So what is hydroelectric power? Making the electricity through the help of water. Through the help of water, we can develop, or we can make the hydroelectric power. And because of this hydroelectric power which we produce or which we make through this water, let's make a tremendous, let's make a huge difference to the life of the countryside, that is rural people. So now in the rural people also they have electricity. You guys, I think you know it. In your previous, when you in your ancient generation or your great grandpas, they were staying in a village or rural areas, and I know they were no power and all, right? But now if you compare now the villages, it is also developed. So because of this hydroelectric power, even the villages were started getting the electricity, and they were also improving in some directions, right? So you can see the water is the commonest of liquid. It is very easily you will get anywhere. I understand it is the most uncommon of liquid with amazing properties. So this liquid has an amazing property where you can have the unique power of maintaining animal and plant life. So this common liquid has a power to maintain the animal and plant life. And now that's the reason we have to give the importance to the water, right? It's not a common water, it is not the uncommon. It has both the properties, and when you have something in huge way, then we have to take care of this liquid. We have to preserve it. We have to give for the next generation. Instead of wasting, you have to save water for the next generation. This is a chapter written by C.V. Raman sir, where he was explaining the importance of water, why we have to save water, and what is necessity to save the water. So save the water where we have for the future generations. We have to save the water for ourselves. We have to save the water for animals. We have to save the water for plants, and we have to save the water for our farmers, right? For the agriculture. So this is why if water is not available for agriculture, then there will be no agriculture, there will be no farming, and there's no farming, then we don't have anything to eat. So directly we're depending on the agriculture. So that is why the author is saying that commonest of liquid is your water. So save the water and preserve it for the future generation. This is chapter about Elixir of Life, written by C.V. Raman sir. Any doubts? Please ask me, and the work shall be given below. Complete it, read the chapter, underline the words wherever you feel it difficult, sentences, and complete your notes. And please ask me if you have any doubts. Bye. See you in next session.